Tuesday Bashers. Hey everybody, how are you? My name is Dirk. This is Dirk Weekdays on the Bashers Network. It's your show. I just hosted. How are you all today? Let's see who's in the room. Let's start it all off. Andrew Wolkowicz is in at number 1. I guess I owe you an album instead of a song. Canadian $2. I'll miss the show. Andrew. Upvote and everyone subscribe. Let's start you off immediately with the Super Chat Gong. We'll miss you. You'll be greatly missed, my darling. And he also says, also don't forget that others that matter to you may not know how much. Oh, let them know that you care. Be an inspiration in others' lives and a blessing in their memories. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more, especially the way I've been feeling lately. There's so many people I want to reach out to that I haven't spoken to in a while. And sometimes all it takes is a phone call or even a text. When texting first came out, I'm old enough to remember when texting was new. Holy crap. And you used to not be able to just type it. You'd have to go like A, B, C, D, D, E, F. It was retarded. I know we're not supposed to use that word, but I just did. Sometimes sending a text to somebody when they least expect it is a wonderful thing to do. And it could reopen up a friendship or rekindle memories or any of those things that, you might have or they might have forgotten. And, sometimes it's just really nice for somebody to know you're thinking about them. Special shout out today, speaking of reaching out, to Ella, Dana and Emmett's beautiful daughter, who turned 17 today. Happy birthday, Els. We love you. She's a superstar, an absolute superstar. We've spent a couple of birthdays with her in Italy. And she's becoming a young woman. Isn't that amazing? Time goes by so fast. It's not like what Madonna says. Time goes by so slowly. Time goes by. Maybe when you have all that plastic surgery, it does. But it goes by really fast, especially when you hit 40. When you hit 40, it's like the speed gets turned up. I think about my youth and how long it took. It just seems like it took forever. Now I'm like my parents with the memories of them as children and, buying pickles for a nickel and how much stuff cost back in the day. That was a big conversation way back when about how much things cost. I don't think anybody would ever believe that a shitty house costs $1 million. $1 million was $1 million. You were a millionaire. And that meant something tremendous to be a millionaire. Wow, it doesn't mean much now because, let me give you, for instance, where I live in Long Island City, New York. It's a tiny little town in the borough of Queens, right across the river from the biggest city in the world. For years, it was industrial and old Italian and Irish people and people with stirrup pants. And, it was very local. But now I think about that, and I used to kind of make fun of it. And now it was just the most charming, wonderful, insular, in the best way, like where everybody knew everybody's birthday and when it was your anniversary and people got together and everyone said hello to everyone. And now it's just this big anonymous town. And the average price of a house here when I got here in 93 was like $75,000 for a house, 100,000 maybe. And now, the crappiest shit boxes are 2 million, 2.5 million, 3 million. The building I live in is a 6 apartment, old walk-up, old tenement New York kind of style, wood frame house with the typical classic like you see on when Entourage go back, the show on HBO, go back to the old neighborhood. One of those houses. These houses... The last time my previous landlord who died, he had purchased this house for $26,000 in the 60s. And DL and company, who are now the owners of this building, they bought it for $2 million. And that building next door, they bought for almost $3 million. So it's crazy how that happens. And I don't think real estate, and my brother's a realtor, it's not commensurate with anybody's real life earnings. It's just this demand, and the demand is not coming from anybody locally. They're coming from overseas. They're coming from all different places, and they're coming in with foreign money and investments. And they built all these giant towers by the river. It used to be completely open. It was amazing. You could walk down there. There wasn't parks. There weren't parks, and there weren't all these beautiful little esplanade things and stuff, which they have now, and it is quite lovely. But they have these giant towers, 60 stories, 70 stories, they're skyscrapers. They're half empty because these people from other places rent these apartments, or their corporations do, and they keep them for when people are in town or whatever. It's very interesting. And how I got on this tangent, I don't know. Who cares? I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who knows? Very strange. Let's see who else is in the room. Melly C is here. Hey, Melly C. Good day, Dirk and all the best. Hello to Mork and Mindy. Hope you guys are doing well. Mr. Ken Furby is here. Greetings, Dirk, and one and all. Remember to do the usual stuff and have fun. Yes, today is Speedy Tuesday. As always, it's really funny. I wore my Speedy on the SS United States, and I didn't look at it. Holy crap. It was 10 times filthier than I was, because when I came home, I had to take a delousing shower because the inside of that ship is so filthy. I was covered with 8 million pounds of soot and junk. I had to throw my sneakers out. They were horrible. They were just destroyed. My clothes, I said, I had a pair of shorts on, my favorite pair of shorts that I wear all the time. And I was late, so I was like, oh, I'm going to hand wash them. So I filled up the sink with Woolite. Does anybody remember what Woolite is? It's like for fine washables. And I threw it in the sink with hot water and Woolite, and the water instantly turned black. And it took me like 5 cycles of washing it by hand to get all the soot out. It was gross. Greetings, Dirk and all. Remember to do the usual stuff and have fun. Yes, always do that. We've got the Paul's Italian cousins in town. We saw them on Sunday. I did that early edition of Sunday Mass for y'all. And Paul went to pick them up at the airport, and I was at the apartment where they're staying. And I, made some caprese salad and stuff like that, just so they'd settle in. We had a really nice time, drank some beer, because these Italians don't drink wine. Stefania watches the show sometimes, which is amazing to me, because their whole culture revolves around wine, and their family in particular. They make their own wine. They're so proud of their wine. And I just totally forgot, or maybe I didn't realize that they don't drink wine. And her husband, Davide, Paul's cousin, says, Dirk, I don't drink, only beer. And then I remembered when we went to a pizzeria in their local town, which is outside of Milano. Really, really good pizza. Obviously, it's Italy. And I wanted a glass of wine. He goes, no wine. No, beer. Pizza, beer. I didn't realize it was because that's what they drink. Anyway, so I ran out really quickly and got a couple of 4 packs of Carlsberg, because that's all they had at the local crap mart that's down the block from where they're staying. And I gotta say, Carlsberg was really good. Danish beer. I don't think I ever had one. I think I had one of those Carlsberg special brews like 25 years ago, because I was in Europe and I had one. It's in a big tall silver can. I think it's a little bit stronger, but regular Carlsberg was very, very good. I liked it. Dean says, happy Speedy Bashers Day. Happy Speedy. Anyway, the filthy. Yeah. So I was wondering why my hand was so dirty. I was like, why is my hand getting so dirty? And then I looked at my watch, and it was caked with SS United States soot, because I had been roaming around on that ship. A lot of you guys got to see the show that I did on Saturday. It was a live stream, the Bash About to the Ends of the Earth, in Philadelphia with the SS United States. And Ray, darling, my love, I am working diligently on this engine room video. I'm going to put it up on the iBashers channel as like content. It's going to be the first like actual edited content I've ever put up on iBashers, because I just do live streams. And then I was like, I put the footage up. I started editing it in Final Cut Pro. Then I was like, oh, I need to write a little bit of music for it. So I started working on that. And then I wanted to put some titles in, what the engines were, what the propulsion system was, blah, blah, blah. So I'm getting it. And it's like 3 days later, I'm halfway done. Then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I need some really good footage of the ship in her prime, because you're just seeing this kind of dark, gloomy ship that looks like a ghost ship, which it is. So I'm overcooking the living crap out of this video. And while it's not going to look like Timeless Watch Channel effort, because I don't have that kind of talent, I'm using that as kind of like, and documentaries as a kind of thumbnail. It's going to be nowhere near as good as that, but I'm doing my best, and I'm learning, because I do make when I make videos for my band, I've made them all, because we don't have anybody to pay for those. And so I know how to use Final Cut to something, but now it's funny. I had all these titles done, and they were 3D animated and looking really cool. And then after I had the engine room video kind of like looking the way I wanted to, the titles look terrible now. Now they don't fit. So now I'm going to have to come up with a different style for the titles. I know I don't have to do that, but now I'm deep in it. So now I'm screwed. So now I'm going to want it to look as good as it can. And for everybody who's been asking me about the engine room, I did, right after I signed off on the show on Saturday, we went down to the engine room, which is pretty big and very deep, and actually extremely dangerous, because it's all catwalks. It's all like very steep stairs and catwalks to get to various parts of the engine room. And I have some footage. I got some footage of what it looked like back in the day, because being part of the SS United States Conservancy, we have access to some of their better looking content that they've amassed over the decades since they've been in existence, which is really super cool. So I'm gonna have to change that all up. Anyway, it's all these catwalks, and they've unfortunately, because finances are what they are, it's very expensive to keep that ship alive. And hopefully she will be moving to a new location with better prospects, because it all looks good as long as we can get a new spot for her. Once we get a new spot for her, then the work can begin, because there's already drawings and schematics and plans, and all kinds of scientific data that has been done, studies that have been done. So with that part of it has all been done, because we had a partnership that was in place before Philadelphia decided that they wanted her to leave. And I found out this weekend, I didn't know that the dock in Philadelphia, where she currently resides, is privately owned. I thought it was part of the city or part of the naval installation that they have down there. It turns out it's not. It's a family-owned thing, and they want her out. And even though it costs a lot of money to keep her there a month, and if I told you how much, you wouldn't believe me. It's over $100,000 to keep her there. She's a 1,000-foot ship. So it's a lot of money. So walking around there and then getting the vibe, and I shot about maybe 15 minutes worth of engine stuff. I've whittled it down to about 8. But for all the Navitime people out there, and the boat captains and the Rays of the world, I just want it to look best for you guys, because I love you guys and I want it to be perfect. Speaking of the guy, the man himself, it is Ray. Love to all. Love is all. Love is all. There's a great song from the Butterfly Ball. Roger Glover from Deep Purple. I think when he got kicked out of the band, right after they put out Smoke on the Water and Highway Star, the bass player of that band, who went on to be quite a prolific and popular producer of lots of groups, decided to do a theatrical presentation called the Butterfly Ball. And he had all different singers, and it's great music. It's orchestral. It was done at the Royal Albert Hall. And there's 2 amazing songs that Ronnie James Dio sang before he was in Rainbow. This is his Elf days, when he was a young whippersnapper, and his voice is just mind-blowing. There's a song on there called Love Is All. Look it up if you haven't heard it. It's absolutely beautiful. Dave Fahrenheit 451 upvoted. Please upvote. Please subscribe. I think, as I've told you guys, the iBashers channel is under the umbrella of the Timeless Watch channel, now the Yoshino O'Malley network, and we have in the process of moving it just to me because I'm on here every single day. Of course, we're still partners and all of that stuff, all that good stuff. We're, BFFs and all that shit. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with basically eventually, this being my business, and also to see if the algorithm changes with the subscriptions and you guys losing your subscriber status when you're watching videos. You guys have, I get so many emails a day, maybe 50, 60, and well, that's probably not a lot for the bigger channels. It's a lot, and I read them all and I try to respond to every single one of them. But one of the big things I get is, oh my God, I'm not subscribed to your channel. And it's happened to a lot of you repeatedly. So that's one of the things we put in place to try to fix that. Carolyn Martin, the girl with the wrench, is in the room today. Hello, everyone. I'm ready for Basher time. Gorgeous, only gorgeous Carolyn Martin, who I'm free to disclose the fact that she made iBashers hats, and she sent one to me, and I can't wait to see it. I've seen a picture of it, so I know what it looks like. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And if any of you guys want to get a hold of one of those, we'll let you know when that happens. I think this is, I don't know if this is a prototype or whatever, but I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to wear it on the show. I'm a baseball hat kind of guy. I only have about 30 or 40 of them. Which somebody said, you'll have to get rid of all of those when you move to Italy because no one wears baseball hats. And I was like, nobody wears baseball hats. It's very, very true. I'll keep a couple of Mets hats and I'll donate the rest because I don't want to look like a tourist. Dave Fitzsimons, happy Tuesday, Basharisti. Did you see Noah Lyles wore his Dark Side of the Moon during his 100 meters? I saw it on the news. Some guy said he's a Speedmaster fan. I couldn't believe it. Speedy by name, Speedy by nature. Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon. That's a great watch. Today's thumbnail, I used the loom on the Snoopy because I just think everybody loves that watch. Doesn't everybody want the Snoopy? They all kind of do, right? I mean, I used to want it, and I don't know how I feel about it now. I mean, I don't know. Sure. There are other Speedmasters I'd want. I have my Snoopy watch. I have my Weekender Timex, which I love. That's my Snoopy representation. I mean, maybe we didn't even go to the moon. That's a whole other episode. Vasilios P, good evening to all. Good evening to you, Vasilios P. How are you? And Chicken Malaharis. Hello, greetings, Dirk. I have never seen you in the room before, but it's very, very, very nice to see a new fresh face. Chicken Mala Harris. Greetings, KFC. Anybody ever watch this show? It's called something. Yes, it's these two guys, one's Swedish and one guy's French, and they have a channel that is like, man, I cry every time I watch it. What is the name of it? Let me look it up real quick. Why not pump a channel that's really good? I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's these two guys. One of them is from Sweden and one of them is French. And they travel all over the place and they meet people. My history is they are called Yes Theory. Yes Theory. And they went to Belarus. And I'm watching this episode, and Belarus is this kind of very closed off country that is kind of under Putin's control, and or it's I don't listen. Puppet nation. I don't know. People love to use words like that. What is a puppet nation? A nation that pretends it's its own thing when it's really not. I don't know how true that is, but they have a quote unquote dictator there. Anyway, there's an embargo from the world about anybody having a business in Belarus, but they have Burger King and they have KFC there. And they have this one thing I've always loved is propaganda art. And I know it's not popular to say that, but like Soviet propaganda art. Oh man, that stuff is so beautiful. It is gorgeous. I love all that stuff. All those great big stone soldiers and the motifs and the friezes, absolutely beautiful bronzes, the building, the architecture. I love all that stuff. Some of it's very brutalist, which I'm a big fan of brutalist. Hold on a second. That might be Carolyn's hat. Hold on. I just had to let them in. It's not. Anyway, sorry about that. My bell rang during the show, and I heard, so I have my new sneakers because my other ones I threw out, and it's not Carolyn's hat though because it was Amazon, so not her. So anyway, I love all that stuff, and I'm watching this Yes Theory, these guys, and they go to Belarus and they don't know anybody and they don't speak Russian, and they're walking down the street, and this girl comes up to them. She goes, "Oh my God, Yes Theory, you're my favorite channel on YouTube. Oh my God," she's hugging them, and it was so beautiful. She starts crying. Your biggest fan. Blah blah. And meanwhile, they had spent an entire day there. No one would look at them. They couldn't speak to anybody. They asked people if they spoke English. Nobody did. Everyone just ignored them, or else they got the side eye. All kinds of crazy stuff like that. And she decides to become their tour guide while they're in Belarus. It was magical. And it turns out that the next day, which was July 3rd, is their Independence Day, independence from Nazi occupation. Obviously, the United States got together with the Soviet Union, obviously, during World War II. They became our allies because of, Hitler and Nazi Germany, and it was a whole world against them. The Cold War kind of spoiled that, and I have my own theories on that whole shebang. But so she takes them to this parade the next day, and it's a show of military might, which is a thing that I will never understand. Like, we don't have that. We don't have that. And I know we're guilty of a lot of things. So don't get me wrong. Believe me, I know the faults, the sins of the father. I understand that. But they're a nation that has like the cannons and the guns and the military people walking in uniform like North Korea and Russia, where they show off their military might and all this stuff. Meanwhile, everything's Russian. And they're spewing a lot of crazy stuff, and she's translating it in kind of a, I don't really want to do this kind of way. And then she takes them to the countryside because they had like a goal. One was to meet somebody, befriend somebody, check. Second one was meet a babushka, like a grandmother, an old lady, and get invited into somebody's home. So then you take a train ride, and taking trains is one of the most beautiful things in the whole wide world. If you've never taken a train in Europe or elsewhere in the world, United States, not so much. Train travel here is kind of crap. It's just utilitarian, and it's just, yeah. Unless you take the beautiful, scenic routes, in Montana or the I forget the name of the one, the Silver Streak that goes across the country, goes through Colorado Rockies. That one's supposed to be quite beautiful. I'd love to do that one day. But I've taken trains in, Italy and Switzerland and France, and it's just magical. But if you go see these Soviet trains, and they are Soviet trains, they're from the Soviet era, because they don't have a lot of new stuff. The infrastructure is all pretty old. They take this train, they meet this beautiful couple on the train, and they're just super wonderful. And he gives everybody this little heart, because this channel is all about meeting people and sharing the love. And I was like, oh man, that's what it should be. And he says our default as human beings, our default emotion is peace and love. And I was like, wow, isn't that true? And like, you'll cry during this. And then they walk through this country lane in the middle of nowhere, and they meet this cat, and then it's talk to some woman who has a garden, and she lets them in, and she has this beautiful English garden. It looks like something Dean did. It's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And then she invites them in to drink and eat, and then they go down the road and they meet her friends, and it's just this unbelievable love fest. Now, here's this country that's a quote unquote puppet nation of, Putin and all of that crap. And they meet the people. It's never the people. It's always the government. Isn't it true? People want good things for the people they love, and for strangers and for family. That's what they want. They don't want any of that crap. Anyway, it was great show. And anyway, back to KFC. So there they are in the big square, and there's all the Soviet propaganda art and all this cool stuff. And there's a big Soviet building, and what's in the ground floor? KFC. So KFC, and next to it is a Burger King. So KFC and Burger King both exist in the banned countries. I don't know how that worked out, because I know a lot of countries left. I watched some stuff. I don't know how much the economic, when you're a country as big as Russia, and you could probably live off your own economy, for a while, and they're friends with China, so China brings them all their crappy goods because everything that's made there is pretty much crap. Every time I ever buy anything from there, it just falls apart, and it's just because it's made by unskilled labor. And that's just what it is. It's like, remember, made in Japan used to be considered bad. Now everything made in Japan. I said this the other day on the show. Everything made in Japan is absolutely incredible now. Incredible. Highly recommend. I love Japanese electronics. I love Japanese. You buy records from there. Everything's amazing. The quality is crazy. Hiteshi, hey baby. Hi Bash, is great to see you in the room. Hiteshi. And Carlos Paggi's here. Hi Dirk and the Bashardaritos. Hope you're all well. We are. Yeah, Hiteshi says, oh no, Oshin and Dirk are on the same time. I had absolutely no idea that was going to happen. He's an adult person. He can do what he wants. I guess he's got something to say because, this is certainly an unscheduled thing for him. And only way I noticed it was when I went to go, because we share this software to log into the YouTube channels. And I saw that he had one scheduled. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it when I'm done. I don't know what it's about. I saw the title and I would imagine it has something to do with what I put in. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute because I got a couple of emails this week and I don't understand the hate channels, man. I don't understand the concept of it. I don't understand the motivation. Maybe people can enlighten me. I'll stay here and watch Asheen later. Aren't you the best? Thanks, Satoshi. Hey, Donnie Fair is here. Oh my, Donnie Fair. Hey, can I ask you a question, Don? What is it with, and this is a guy I've known for 40 years. He was in my band. He was the first second lead guitar player in my band, because Jim Bucky's always been one of the lead guitar players and the founder. And then we went through a succession of guitar players. He was the first guy. He joined right after I did. And we played our first show together and all that stuff with Stryper. Don, why do some people call you Brian Fair? I see this online all the time. When they talk about our band, they talk about and erstwhile guitarist Brian Fair. I'm like, who the fuck is Brian Fair? It's Don Fair. Ray is in the house. Katie Harrington, boxing for gold at 22:20 hours military time because you are such a sailor man. It's Ray the sailor man. Claire's here. Good evening, all. It's been a while. Hey, you. It's been a while. Not much. How about you? Been a while. Good seeing you again. Good seeing you too. Look at you with your little bandana. I'll never forget Don. So Don used to pick me up at the train station, and then we would drive to rehearsal together, which was way out on Long Island. And one time we went into his house, and he had the radio on, and it was like and he let me drive his car. He taught me, this guy, Don B. Fair, taught me how to drive stick. And Dirk does not have a license. Dirk has never had a license. But Don Fair taught me how to drive stick. And I used to drive it on the Long Island Expressway. He'd be like, no, Dirk, you drive. He's a very soft-spoken guy. And so I learned how to do it on this. I think it was like a Toyota, or it was some kind of little old shit box. But it was fun stuff. But I'll never forget, one of my memories of Don Fair is I'm sitting in his car and he goes in and I hear dum dum da da dum 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 dum, just sitting there, like, and then I hear, I who have nothing, I who have no one. It was Tom Jones. It was a song I'd never heard because I was 19, and my musical tastes were all over the place, but I didn't know Tom Jones that well, other than seeing him on various variety shows as a kid. And I just sat there gobsmacked, and he came in and I said, Can you hear this guy's voice? And he goes, sounds like you. I was like, I guess I sound like him. Isn't that funny? Maybe I had inadvertently, because Tom Jones is one of my favorite singers in the whole wide world. Maybe I had heard him and thought that was the way to sing. But I heard this song called I Who Have Nothing. And if you don't know the song, it's absolutely amazing tune. Raver says, 15th to upvote. Think I sent you a PayPal for the SS United States. You certainly did, my friend. And I wrote you back on the PayPal machine, and I said, thank you so very much. It is much appreciated. The SS United States needs all the help and love she can get. I will make sure that gets channeled right back to her. And I appreciate it. Melly C says Seiko. I know, like I mean Japan. Holy crap! Can you? I mean, they're beautiful. Who doesn't love a Seiko? Your middle name is Brian. So were you toying with the name Brian for a while, like as a professional name? I don't know. Martin Bronson are here. Evening, all a bit late for the chat. No, you're on time for the chat. Why not? You're here. So, Speedy Tuesday. Everybody wearing their Speedy. What are you wearing today? What are you wearing on this Tuesday? It's always good to find out. So, I got a couple of emails this week. Thanks, Martin Bronson. Thanks. Great to see you both. Who cares? Who cares? Don't forget Basherdirk at gmail.com. That is Basherdirk at gmail.com for all of the Gallery of Bastards. Anything you want to send to me, share with the gang, the Basharistos, the Bashtardies, all the stuff we'll share. We'll look at your story, send me a little message along with it, explaining it. It could be your cat, your go-kart, your guitar. It could be anything that your heart desires. And we share it with the world. You share it with me and I share with the world. Thank you. So I got a couple of emails this week, and it was about hate stream, hate channel, blah blah blah. I'm like, I mean, I kind of know what that is because, listen, I am not a watch channel. I come from I'm watch channel adjacent. And I don't know where this exists and how it exists and why it exists, and I don't really get it. But I used to joke and call it the Real Housewives of wristwatches, the real wristwatches of Beverly Hills. Because, you see people talking about other people, and I'm not saying that I haven't done it because I'm sure that I have. Because we're human and we're all guilty. But I am amazed by channels that are dedicated to just talking about other channels in a very negative way. And I guess that's just free speech, and that's fine. But I don't understand what the motivation is behind it. I don't understand why anybody would go out of their way. And I'm not talking about channels that are about something and then they just go off on a tangent, which is what most of us would do in a conversation. I'm talking about a channel that gets downloads the content from other people's channels, puts timestamps on them, and then goes through them. Because I watched a couple. Because I got so many emails. They mentioned you. They mentioned me. And I'll be fair. I'll be honest. They didn't say anything negative about me per se, but they did about a lot of other people. And I mean, I don't really cause a commotion here, so maybe that's my thing. But by association, sometimes you get dragged into certain things. I've been on other people's shows. And this particular one was the very first edition of iBashers. And the very first edition, the launch of the iBashers channel, a year and a half ago. Was it 2022? And I didn't take it over full time. This was Ush and I restarting the iBashers, which was originally a podcast. We decided to get back together and see, now that he has his channel was getting big, let's see if we can reestablish that. It'd be really, really cool. So we did it, and we had Paul Pluta on. We had Archie Luxury on the show because it was very watchy back then. iBashers was never intended to be about watches. It was intended to be about, things in general, chit chat, like what we talk about on Friday nights, as opposed to Dirk Weekdays, which is a totally different show. It's me and you and the world. We've created we kind of fell into it. I started out with content and then kind of just decided, I'd rather learn about everybody else on the show and get to know everybody better. And boy, have we done a great job of it. Has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. So they went through the show with timestamps. Oh, look what happens at 1:47. Look what happens. And they're commenting on comments that we make and stuff, and wondering how things went off the rails. And I'm like, off what rails? I know that in the watch world, it seems to be, you could have a perfectly nice show, and I'm not speaking for just my buddy, because I know the inside scoop on everything. So when you see a channel that is making beautiful content, absolutely beautiful stuff, and your personality shows through and you get to do a lot of stuff and life is interesting, Then these other channels start commenting on you about how you dress, what you drink, who you date, um, whose stream were you on, what conversations did you have, and it's about so many different channels. Like this one particular show, I'm not going to mention who it is, um, because I don't know them, and and stuff. And like I said, they listen. If somebody attacks, I'm very fiercely loyal person. So if somebody attacks somebody I care about, I'll say something. If it was something really, really bad, and it wasn't, it was just kind of petty stuff, kind of ridiculous nonsense, which I don't really understand. But what do you think? What you guys are? I mean, most of you have something to do with the watch game, or you're aficionados or whatever. I know we've moved on from that, but what would anybody think that the motivation is? Is it purely to get viewers and super chats, or what is it for exactly? You know, I don't really know what it's for. Like, what is the point of it? Is it just for fun? Um, I don't know. I don't. It just beguiles me, like what the motivation is. Some of it's really funny. Some of it is interesting, but there's a lot of name calling and a lot of mean spiritedness. And like I said, I don't think I'm exempt from like I've banned a couple of people when they say something that I think is really inappropriate. Like if they say something about Michaela de Chatillon or sure, then directly to me. One guy was like, you're fucking Sheen's girlfriend or whatever. That's just stupid, and it's not nice. It's not kind. I think Bashers has become a place where a safe space where we can all, and I hate that term because I'm not the most PC guy in the world. You've heard me swear like a sailor, but it's a place where we can come and gather and share each other's watches and cats and your, like I said, your go-kart or your kite or whatever the hell it is you want to share with the gang. But I watched a bunch of these videos this weekend, and I was amazed to see the amount of effort that goes into it. And I have to say, some serious effort goes into this, where people download an entire stream and then put little numbers on it and stuff. And I'm just curious what the motivation is behind it. Like when my sister's got a friend who's one of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and it's that. It's like pulling somebody's weave out. And the information is mostly incorrect, like on those Real Housewife shows. They're not real. They're not. Those shows are like, oh, today uh they're gonna be those shows, the script will be, Jessica has a fight with Angela today, pull her weave out and throw a glass at the wall. And that's what they do. So I'm just curious as to what that's about. I mean, did I find it entertaining? I kind of did, in a very kind of voyeuristic, weird way. But I don't know. What do you think the motivation is? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? That's my little rant. I just don't know. I just don't know what the impetus was. And by the way, these shows, and there's a couple of them. There's a bunch of them. They don't have any particular thing that they do on the show other than that. So it's not like, and me, I hate watch dealer shows. Anybody who's a watch dealer, I'm not watching your show. Anybody who sells stuff, like I don't watch like I love guitar shows. I love music shows. But anybody who sells them, I'm not into it, because once you're in the trade, I'm out, because it's just no fun. Because there's motivation there to sell stuff, and like when the Timepiece Gentleman and all that stuff came around, I was like, oh, this guy's a total scam artist, and then this guy's a scam artist, and this guy's a scam. I like all the guys that are, and I loved Archie Luxury. I mean, I watched that guy's show for forever, and I don't think he's got a problem with me. I don't see why he would, and I don't think he does. But I think Archie easily gets egged on by people too, especially when people proclaim to be his friend. I was so grateful to have him on our first show, because I always, I was a fan when he first showed up, when he said yes to being on the show. I've been watching his show for years and enjoying the living crap out of it, as I was watching a lot of other shows. But that one was, the first one, the special one. And, Alliances are made, lines are drawn, dramatic pause. It's very weird to me. It's weird, you know? Anyway, that's my rant. Doesn't matter. Who cares, right? Who cares? Just don't know what that's about. Who cares? Doesn't really matter. Like those guys say on Yes Theory, I think that everybody's basic instinct is to be kind. And our base instinct is for peace and to spread love around more than it is to spread hate around. Sometimes when you're in business, you're a pizzeria, and I'm not an analogy guy, and I suck at them. But I'll never forget this guy, Paolo, owned a pizzeria in our neighborhood. And it was like real old New York style pizza. Amazing, amazing, amazing pizza. And then, this neighborhood started changing and getting blech. And then this chain came in with pizza. And it turns out that then 3 weeks later, Paolo's place closed down. And it turns out that this chain went and bought his building just to put him out of business so they could have their big pizzeria across the street. And I was like, sometimes when you're in competition with other things, you create content or you create a product that will help to squash other people. I don't know why. We can all exist. I have a very, very small channel. I mean, it's tiny. There's no big crazy things going on. I just think it's a nice place to hang out with really nice people. That's all I think. Don B. Fair says, when we did the Alien album, Alien was the band he was in before he was in Hitman, right? Before, right? Maybe it was after. Didn't want fans following us home, so we changed names for the album Cosmic Fantasy. Oh, because I was at, for anybody who wasn't here earlier, I asked Don why I see sometimes online his name is listed as Brian Fair. I was like, who the hell is Brian Fair? Melly C. Timing Snoopy Easy Rider. Donnie B. Fair sounds like one of my favorite artists, Johnny B. Good. Sure does. Hey, Dr. Bob Snyder, can you start over at the beginning? In the beginning. It's probably not worth it. 9 lives, bitches. I love your Donald Trump ginger cat, Dr. Bob. That's great. Fame. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Roar of the Tiger. The thrill of the fight. Great to see you in the room, Roar of the Tiger. As always, hope you and your family are doing well. And he upvoted. Please upvote and hit subscribe if you can. It helps the algorithm out. And very soon, we'll see how this experiment goes. Donnie B. Fair says, people are just negative and feel the need to be unkind. I mean, that's the old adage of like, are you laughing with me or laughing against, laughing with me or at me? And that's the thing. One of these particular shows that I watched, it seems like they were reveling in some people's misfortunes, and that is never nice. I think you have to know your audience. I've learned my lesson a lot. And one guy quoted me for a quote that was used on somebody else's channel that was taken out of context. And I was very surprised by the person who said it, because I thought he was a nice person. And man, obviously, I'll never. Here's an analogy that will just nail it on the head. When I was a kid, there was a movie, and I think it was called Sounder, and it was about some backwoods folks. And it was about this girl, and she was from the woods, and she didn't have any friends or anything, and she didn't know anybody, and she had this beautiful pet bird, and she loved this bird, and she took the bird, was always on her shoulder wherever she went, and maybe it was called Suni. I forget. My sister would remember, because I was devastated by it, because I've always been a lifelong animal lover, and this is one of the things that destroyed my life. And in this movie, she meets these kids, and they seem to be nice and friendly with her, and they all want to play with her bird, and they're like, oh, it's amazing. And then the bird hops off onto the ground, and then one of the kids throws a pebble at it, and then another kid throws a pebble at it, and then another kid throws a pebble at it. Then soon they're all throwing pebbles at her bird, and you know what? She wants to be part of the gang. And what does she do? She starts throwing pebbles at her own bird until it's dead. So she participated in the killing of her pet bird because she wanted to be a part of this gang of assholes, because she felt like she needed to be a part of this group, and she wound up killing the thing that she loved the most. So that's the lesson I learned from that. That broke my heart as a child. I'll never forget that movie. And this particular person who quoted me out of context, but he got that quote from a person that I wrote a letter to, who had quoted me and tried to put words in my mouth that were incorrect. And this is a guy I do not know. And this person did not write back to me because he's a person of extremely bad character. He's a dishonest person. And him just not writing me back says a lot. But the person who did this thing on one of these streams the other day did a quote. Everybody laughed because they all knew that this other guy had done a thing about it. It's hurtful. It's not... I'm not angry about it at all, because I've been in a band for years, and sometimes people say really good album, or that guy sucks, or that show was crap. You learn press, or not that we were famous or anything, or, whatever. We have a very small following of people in Europe. You'd get some press and you'd be like, oh my God, they hated this, they hated that, they hated this, and it would really get to you. Eventually you get a tougher skin. So I had to re-toughen up my skin a little bit for this YouTube thing, because I didn't really know exactly how it was going to go. And I was advised, toughen up, blah, blah, blah. People are going to say things. But when people make things up, or like if I said, fuck her, and then somebody edited that and put that in the context of, say, somebody famous, or like they're putting words in your mouth, and that's what the guy did. So I was a little disappointed with that. Anyway, you get my drift, right? It's not very nice. I thought we were all trying to be nicer. We are trying to be nicer here. Everybody here is pretty nice. I know you guys all are. Ray says, go, 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 go. Katie Harrington. All right. Good for you. Dr. Bob's Nightmare says, Dirk, do you want to see an old oil can? Sure. What does that mean? An old oil can. I love old oil cans. Like Valvoline or 76. Very much. I love bitches. Dave Fitzsimon says, the hate streams are driven by attention seeking. The only way they can get views is by spreading hatred and meanness. They probably get a kick out of it in their own twisted, toxic way. I mean, perhaps it's that. I don't really know. But like, you look at the views and you go, oh, people are watching it. People are interested in it. People are super chatting it. And it just reminds me of that. I forget the name of the movie. It was either Sunni or Sounder, but it just reminds me of, because this one stream I watched yesterday, they were talking about the first show we did. And one of the guys, a guy that I know that I've had a conversation, I've been on streams with, and we have a couple of things in common. He used that quote from some other YouTuber who's now like a crazy political person, and he used that quote that guy used, and I was really shocked by it. I was like, wow, okay, I guess I get it now. Yeah. Chicken Mala Harris, hey man, a KFC guy, you're a cool guy, Dirk, but to be totally honest, Oshin and Tim are hypocrites and complete frauds. They expose Oshin and Tim's hypocrisy. That's why I have the huge following and gets hundreds of views. I'm not exactly sure what specifically you're talking about there, but I think your information is not completely correct. I'm on the inside of that. I don't know Tim very well at all. I've never met him in person. I've only shared a couple of streams with him. I don't know him, but I do know inside stuff. You're completely and utterly wrong about Oshin. I've been friends with the guy for 25 years, and I am a nice guy. Why would I be friends with him if he wasn't a nice person? He is a nice person. But people have made him out to be something that he is not. And that's a fact, Jack. Why in the world would I be friends with that guy? I wouldn't at all. I mean, what sense why would I do that? If he was the person that they portray him, they make a lot of fun of him and stuff. And, you know, man, he's living his best life and doing his stuff, and he's worked really, really hard at it. And he didn't ask for any of that stuff. He's a very opinionated guy, and if you confront him, he's gonna throw it right back at you. But like half the shit that I saw on that stream, none of it is true. And I believe me, he's, you know, I'm as close a friend as you could possibly be to somebody, and there's a reason why we're friends. I'm friends with nice people, and he's, you know, he's a nice person. He's a good person. Doesn't where that comes from. I saw when it started. Started back in the days with the wizard and those watches, and with that guy. I never even remember his name. I never remember his name. The guy that's Dutch, but he lives in Northern Ireland. That guy. They didn't pay him for 6 months, and they made a deal. They didn't pay him. That's how it started. And it turns out it wasn't that the Dutch guy. It was the wizard. It was brokering a deal. He had some watches. He said, sure, yeah, you can have them. And then the next thing you know, 6 months later go by, and there's no money. So he sold one or two of them. And then they're like, oh, then the money showed up. It was like 6 months later. That's how it started. And then all the bullshit started. I was there for every phone call. What do you think I should do? I don't know. It's like, oh, I don't know. So you sound like a nice guy too, Chicken Mate Harris. I'm wondering if you're Happy Meal, because that's the show I was watching. Which, by the way, you've been kind to me, and I appreciate it. I don't think I offer anybody any reason for derision, but I will say this, and this is my statement about what the hate streams. When it comes to Tim, I don't know all that well. He's been very kind to me, but Asheen and I have been friends for, you know, close to 30 years. And you don't stay friends with somebody for 30 years if they're bad people, you know, hypocrites and complete frauds. That's not true. It's not, you know, like I know his mother, you know, Archie sold his soul for bucket chicken. I always have a very soft spot for Archie Luxury, man. I do. I mean, he's the pontiff, right? He started out there, but I just think that he's one of those guys that gets caught up when people start propping him up. He takes the pebble and he throws it at his pet bird. You know, that's how I feel. Melly C says, I think it's a combination of jealousy and empty vessels make the most noise. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Chicken May Mala Harris. Oshin and Tim have absolutely no content and running hate streams right now, telling people Paul Thorpe's channel to shut it down. Pure hate. You see, Paul Thorpe is the guy that made up stuff about me, my friend. Paul Thorpe basically said I was making fun of October 6th. And he took a quote I had of Inglorious Bastards, and he put it he cut that out, and he put it in front of a video of Hamas slaughtering people. And the quote from Inglorious Bastards is, "Run, Shoshana, run." And it turns out that there was a woman who became a hostage during the October 6th massacre, and her name was Susanna. So he ran me saying that, and then he showed these people being slaughtered, and he goes, Dirk knows who that is. He goes, don't pretend you don't know who it is. And he called me an anti-Semite and all this other shit. So you're incorrect. Paul Thorpe is not a good person in any way, shape, or form. So, and now he's become some kind of crazy political. I don't watch his show. After he did that, I wrote him a big letter. He never wrote me back. And I just said, it was really unkind of you to do that. You're misleading people. I don't stir up anybody's shit. I don't cause anybody any kind of grief. I don't say nasty stuff about other people in this world. So you have your information entirely upside down. It's like listening to Fox News or Breitbart or one channel that's so skewed one way. That's incorrect. And Oshin has no content. He makes beautiful cinema. You watch Ireland Part 1 and 2, or you watch all the city stuff. I'm not trying to argue with you, but I'm just trying to set the record straight, because you said that they have no content. Oshin doesn't run a hate channel. He does who needs a drink? And he talks about cigars and wine and, being a rocker and stuff like that. Whatever. And if you don't like that, don't watch it. But he didn't pick on anybody. They picked on him. I was there. I was there for it. So that stuff's not true. Nico Leonard, that's the guy. I can never remember that guy's name. Because I never watched the show because he's a watch dealer and I don't watch dealer shows. I like watches. I like to look at watches. I enjoy watches. I love people who enjoy watches. But he sells watches and buys Ferraris and he's flash and all that stuff. Not my thing. Who cares? Pure hate. Do I see the hypocrisy? No, because that's not true. It's not. I'm on the inside, man. I know. I was there from the beginning with all that shit with Paul Thorpe and all of that stuff. And he's like, you see the stuff, the crazy political stuff he talks about. I only saw some of it, so I don't watch it now because it's not my thing. I don't want to be involved with people like that. I don't. It's not my thing at all. I just don't like it. Anyway, just so you know, Tim talks about watches all day long, and that's his thing. And he used to talk about hiking or whatever, but Sheen and Tim have no content. Sheen's got crazy content. He's got some of the best looking content in the world. That's why I'm making my video now, hoping it comes out decent and he doesn't laugh at me or make fun of me, as he should, because his stuff, he's got a great eye for visuals. I mean, his show started out as an homage to timepieces. And he doesn't buy and sell watches. He doesn't flip. He sold watches when maybe he gets tired of them or maybe he needs a couple of bucks. Like we all do. Paul Thorpe, report Paul Thorpe's channel. I reported Paul Thorpe's channel when he said that about me. Does that make me a bad guy? Does it make me wrong? He completely misquoted me and tried to turn me into somebody I am not. How's that for firsthand information? He took my words and he put it where they weren't. And it was crazy. If you notice, I don't get involved in any of the political shit. I learned my lesson from that. My politics, I try to stay completely off iBashers. It's not something I really want to talk about. I just don't want to be polarizing. I have an opinion. I'm a centrist that leans left sometimes and leans right sometimes. And that's it. And I try not to be an asshole. I try really hard to not. I want to be the type of guy you can rely on YouTube to come here and have a nice time. I'm sorry, everybody else, for having to listen to this crap. It's not necessary, but it was very hurtful when I saw that. Dr. Bob's Nightmare. Was it Old Yeller? Shit, it was Old Yeller, wasn't it? That scene destroyed my soul, man. It really destroyed my soul. It really did. Hey, Watch Flares. Good to see you, evening all. JC Kingsley, afternoon, gents. We're hoping everybody send out good vibes to JC's wife. She was a little under the weather, and he wrote me, and I just want to say, listen, man, coming online and being a part of the show is always wonderful, and I appreciate it. But man, your family is everything, and let's put things into perspective where they belong. Man, wishing her the absolute best and hoping she recovers from whatever was ailing her. And Julian's on the mend too, as for everybody that was asking, and I'm not one of those thoughts and prayers guys, but you know what? Thoughts and prayers, man, because, you guys make the world go round and we really appreciate it. So JC Kingsley, wait, why did Andrew bounce? Andrew didn't bounce. Andrew is just working today, so he can't be. A Franco Fiore is here, upvoted. Anyway, Chicken Mala Harris, are you happy, Meal? Because I know you have a lot of different things, and I watched your show the other day. And if you said some nice things about me, and I appreciate it. If that's you, and if it isn't, thanks anyway. But just so you know, and I'll keep it there because that's, if somebody said something about your friend who was always a great friend to you, you'd think differently, wouldn't you? You would. Renaissance. Oh. Hey, I know who that is. That's Julian. Hey, Julian. Just talking about you a minute ago. Carolyn Martin, outside of our community, social media bites. It's true. Carolyn Martin, thank you so much for this super chat. Let's give you the Gong Lady's husband. Hydration is key, ma'am. It's great. She's sitting here watching with me. Great to see you. So, JC Kingsley, get it right. Oshina have a vested interest in the watch committee and do what they can to protect other interested folks. The watch community. I don't even know what that is anymore. It's just gotten so weird. No, David Simon says, don't waste any energy on. No, only because, I watched a couple of things and, I wasn't even going to get into it that deeply because that's not really my style to do so. But like you see hurtful things. If somebody said something bad, I'll give you a great example. A couple of years ago, my sister goes under an acronym on Facebook. This is when everybody was on Facebook, and a friend of mine said something. She said something that was, she's exclaiming. She said something out loud, and a couple of people disagreed with it, and then somebody that I know went after her, and I said to them, I said, hey man, that's my sister. And they were immediately apologetic and all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, you don't pick your family. You do pick your friends though, right? We do that. My sister is, I take a bullet for her. So I don't even remember what it was about, but I think it involved the C word. So I got really mad. And listen, you know what? When you see things like the Paul Thorpe thing and that crap he did to me, that was really, and I didn't know about it. Because I don't watch those shows. I don't watch Paul Thorpe. Somebody had to point it out to me, and I was like, wow. And then, I get emails from people. Hey, they mention you. I'm like, and I watched the shows, and the first couple of ones, it said very, very nice things. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I saw that it was kind of like not a hate stream, but whatever it was. But then, when you see stuff and what Chicken Mala Harris says, no, that's not true. Not true. And I'm on the inside. So, it's easy to, fake news. And everybody thought it was fake news. I have a neighbor, a girl who thinks that, she's QAnon, and she thinks that there's going to be this new world order, a new banking system, and that we're all getting new social security numbers, and we're all getting all this stuff. And this is all fun. This is all the stuff because she watches this one particular network that I think she gets on the dark web. But when it's like religion or anything, when people start repeating things, everybody gets in. The next thing you know, your bird is dead because everybody's throwing pebbles at them. And I'm here to tell you that, that shit's not true. It's not. It's not true. And I think you'd feel the same way if somebody said something about somebody you care about. Just saying. Anyway, you know what time it is. I'm well over the thing, but hey, it's the Gallery of Bashtards. Send me the shots, the sublimely absurd. The Gallery of Bashtards. You share them with me, and I share with the world. This is where we really want to be, right? And everybody's favorite black puppy, it's Poppy. Poppy's got a brand new bowl, and Chris says Poppy's going to destroy it, and I bet you that's probably true. Oh, you beautiful baby. It's great. Thank you so much, Chris. Mr. Boyd. This is from Phil. Cats in their lodging. Let's get that going. Oh, this is that beautiful. Yeah, this was from the other day. Why do I have the wrong picture up? It said cats in their lodging. Hold on a second. How did I click that? Not that that's not beautiful. It is. Cats in their lodging. Oh. There's no cats here. Anyway, it's a beautiful Speedmaster. Let's look at that. We all love that. That's the golden iron lace on leather on the blue rubber, which I absolutely love. Doesn't that rubber look great? See, I'm gonna be watched down for a minute. I love that. It's one of my favorite rubber bracelets out on the market. I love it. Omega's bracelets are really expensive. They're really crazy. Dean, Master Gardener. Let's take a look. This says beautiful. I guess this is his beautiful woodshed where he gets all his stuff done, where he starts all his potting. Beautiful stuff. Oh, look at that. Is that butter lettuce, Dean? I don't know what that is, but it's quite beautiful. We're going to get 4 straight days of rain. My basil is totally flowering again, and I go out there every day and I cut the pods, the seeds off, and I'm telling you, 4 hours later, there's more. It's so weird. I love gardening. It's so fun. Oh, look at that. If I had some serious land, I would grow so much stuff. Beautiful. Wow. I didn't know you did that. Wow. I didn't know you had such an extensive what is that? What is the word for when you have like a whole big like area like that? Arboretum, is that the correct word? Wow. Dean, your operation is way bigger than I thought. Holy crap. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Dino. Beautiful stuff. Ken takes some very interesting photographs. What is that, Ken? What is that? Oh, wow. These are weird. What are these crazy things? I've never seen that. This looks like what I would imagine flowers look like on another planet. Wow. What is that? Is that an avocado? Don't tell me that's how avocados grow, because I don't know. It looks like an avocado, right? Can I tell you about the mice last night? Oh my God. The opposite of Old Yeller. I guess those are avocados. So last night I've been working on the SS United States video, and thank you so much for those, man. So I have all these have a heart traps because, you know, the DL, they're putting up all these they're doing all this construction. I've had water bugs and mice in my house. It's been a nightmare. And, you know, we're in court and all that shit. 2 mice got caught on glue traps last night. Now, I put out glue traps for the other critters, and I, of course, don't want that. But I do have a successful method to remove them. So, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The have a heart traps are like these little traps. They go in there, the door closes, and I can take them to the park or the field or wherever and get rid of them. Last night, there was a mouse on a glue trap. So it was 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. So I put my clothes back on because I'm in my studio working on the SS United States video. And I get I was out of sugar. Usually I use sugar, but I had flour. So I take flour, the glue trap, a box, a chopstick, and I go down to the park and a flashlight. And it takes about 20 minutes to neutralize the glue on the trap. So here's how you do it. Like, here's the trap, and it's full of glue. Let's just say it's this size, and it's full of glue, and the mouse is here, right? Now their tail is stuck, their legs are stuck, sometimes their fur is stuck. So what I do is I usually take sugar and put it all over the thing, blow it off. So I've neutralized all the rest of the sugar on the trap. Then I take the chopstick and I start to push their little paws off the trap. And then I add more sugar. But I only had flour. So that took about a half an hour. He took off. He ran away. I get up. I take a shower because I'm gross. It was 1,000,000 degrees and super humid last night. And I get back in the apartment, and then I hear eek, 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 and there's another one on another one. They never wind up on those traps. So I went downstairs till about 4 o'clock in the morning. This guy was really stuck, but I finally got him off. But the really gross thing was, and this is terrible, and this is how I'm living with you know, with the dragon, you know who. There were 2 water bugs on the same glue trap, and they were alive. I didn't know what to do, so I put the stuff all over the trap. I got the mouse off, and I put the more flour on the trap, and then I put that like under a bush because I couldn't kill them because I just can't do it. I don't have it in me to do that. I don't have it in me to do it. Melly C in the house with a little bit of Mork and Mindy action. Oh, look at you, you big, beautiful baby. Oh, you're such a baby. You have to live with that face every day. I would just be there. Yeah. Yeah. It just makes me think of that movie, Old Yeller, where that girl who had no friends got the gang mob mentality together, and the kids just did that to something that she loved and ruined her life forever. Look at that. Look at this beautiful, sleepy baby. That I think that I instantly, I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I stopped eating meat. My parents would give me meat and I would chew it up and I put it in a napkin and I put it behind furniture. And that was my path to all of that stuff. Look at you. You look very serious, Mork. He's so beautiful. What a beautiful baby. Thank you, Melly C. Always great to have a little M&M action in the house. JC Kingsley with his beautiful wife. Hoping she feels better. That's a great shot. Hey, look at that. I mean, I want to know everything about this guy. It's unbelievable. There's always costumes and all kinds of theater, all this interesting stuff. He's a singer. What a fascinating person. And they have all the kind of beer that I really like Pabst and Hams. I like really shitty Pilsner. All right, he just went crazy. He made this for me. And now I put it on the bashers. Now I have it. Isn't that funny? Hilarious. Thank you, JC Kingsley. Always a pleasure. And best to your wife. Here's Ray Ray. Oh, this is great, Ray Ray. That's amazing. Look at that. That's Ireland, kids. Holy shit. If you've never been, you should go once in your life. I know there's a lot of great places in the world. Being Irish, I can't help but feel that way, especially all my family's in the West like that. Beautiful. I've never been to the Giant's Causeway. I've never been to Northern Ireland. It's a place I'd really like to see one of these days. I'd really like to hear. And here's the last shot of the Gallery of Bastards for the day. Beautiful. Look at this. Look at that thing. What's it? You got money? What are you doing there? Is there like an offering there? Is that what that is? Is that an offering? Amazing. Amazing. Thanks, guys. That's the gallery. The Gallery of Bashtards. Send me the shots, the sublime, the absurd. The Gallery of Bashtards. You share them with me, and I share with the world. Dr. Rob Steiner says, Timmy's late. Should I file him? What time does he go on? I don't even know. I know that he used to go on at 6, but now he goes on at, because people said, do you know Tim's on? You're talking, we don't have the same show. It doesn't matter. He can go on. He's a man. He can go on when he wants. Renaissance. In the grand scheme of it all, we're only here on this earth for a nanosecond. It's just some people do not know how to use that for good. Especially for a guy like our dear Julian, who's had so many health battles lately. You know, it makes you think of your mortality. And as I get older, I think about it more and more. You know, when we're young and invincible, and like I said, time seems to go by so slowly now. And it's true. Dr. Bob's Nightmare. My neighbor has those in front of his house. Oh, really? What are they? They're cool. Oh, it's passion fruit? I'm not a big fruit person. I know I'm a vegetarian, but I don't really like fruit. I can eat berries. I have a real aversion. Here's a inside scoop. I am completely grossed out by melons. Any kind of melon, like cantaloupe or what's the other one? Honeydew. Ugh, God, the smell of it gives me like the so I can't stand it. Can't stand it. Dr. Bob says, free sugar. You're incorrect. Well, I used flour last night. And you know what? The flour it just gets all over. I felt bad. I'm blowing it out of the mouse's nose because, you know, it's crazy. for this exact reason. Imagine explaining to the cops why you're in a park at 3 a.m. covered in white powder with a flashlight. Actually, but you know what? I had the actual I had like a bin, a flower bin with me and chopsticks. I know that probably looked absolutely crazy. To Kill a Mockingbird. That's it. It wasn't To Kill a Mockingbird. That wasn't it. It was. I think it was sound. No, it wasn't To Kill a Mockingbird. I saw that on Broadway a couple of years ago. It's actually not the best production ever. It wasn't. Angelo Minichello is in the room. Hey, late. Hey, great to see you in the room. Did the watch arrive yet, sir? How is it? Is it there? Hiteshi says Timmy's on with the Sheen Live. Timmy is on a Sheen stream right now. Yeah, well, because they have a bone to pick with. Listen, I don't know what happened with that whole thing, but you know what? A couple of people who were on his show that got banned from his show. One of them is a person that I couldn't believe it, but now I do because of what he said yesterday, and that's it. He just happens to own my favorite car ever. Whatever. Be nice, people. Be nicer, not the bashers. You guys are the nicest people in the whole wide world. You know who you are. And I don't usually get heavy on my show, but every once in a while you have to react to what you have to react to. And, I just recently got an email from somebody I respect, and they said they were talking about the boxers. You don't believe this bullshit about. No, I believe it's a man. I don't believe it's a man. I believe it's a biological woman that has a testosterone issue. And you know what? I read all the news channels. When you read one news channel, you become, consider the source. You got to look around. You got to look around. Is this the end you've foreseen? Still in customs. I was just about to call the cops. Thanks, Carolyn. Guys, listen. We all go around on this rock once, as far as we know. Do yourself a favor and pay it forward. Have something nice to say about people you don't even like. Give people the benefit of the doubt, because you never know. I learned today that people have misinformation about my buddy, and they do. It's not true. It's not true. And that's all I can say is you're wrong. And that's fine. That's fine. We live and we learn. We choose our alliances. We choose our friends. You can't choose your family. You can love things unconditionally. Love animals. Love people. Love pets. Do your thing. Do your thing. And kind of on a somber note, Guys, remember to hold the door open. Remember to say please and thank you. And always remember, when you encounter unkindness, that you can't always know what that person is going through. And that's why I'll leave it there. You just might be having a bad day, or maybe, maybe they're truly just a